What's up, guys? So I took some of your feedback from my last video and I put some mapping in the background. That way you have something to look at other than my mug for the whole video. Let me know if you guys like this kind of vlog style of content and I can do some more videos like this. If you hate it, also let me know, that way this one will be the last one that I do. Today I want to talk about some common noob traps and my thoughts on both playing PoE and being a content creator for PoE. PoE is a tough game to make content for. PoE by its nature is a grindy game. I mean, the name of the studio is literally grinding your games. It's a game that appeals to people that take min-maxing to another level. It's the kind of game you can spend hours not actually even playing the game, or even in the game itself, or maybe you're AFK in your hideout and you're just pouring over your path of building, either trying to figure out how to squeeze more DPS, health, spell suppression, or whatever it is you want to fit into your build. Or you're trying to unbrick something that you messed up. And I love every single second of it. I used to think that there was a content gap on shorter and easier to digest PoE content on YouTube. Almost every other type of content on YouTube typically performs better with shorter and more concise videos. That's not to say that there isn't shorter videos on PoE that are informational, but most of those videos are typically covering one and only one specific topic. There's a reason why most build guide videos are in excess of 25 minutes long. In fact, I would even say that if you see a build guide that's shorter than 20 minutes long, it's probably super sus or a meme build. PoE players are just built different, man. Who would have thought that fans of a grindy game would also like grindy YouTube videos? So me, thinking that what the community needed was shorter videos, I put out a few short and easy to digest videos on some basic early game mechanics, and they were some of the worst performing videos I've had on YouTube to date. I want to make build guides and build showcases, but I just don't know enough about the game yet. I'm working on a build guide for you guys though. I fell in love with Cast on Crit, so I'm going to try to do some sort of amalgamation of that. But for now, I'm in this weird limbo where I want to make PoE content, but I can't really put out the type of content that people actually want to watch. Most of the content that PoE players want to watch are in-depth build guides or showcases, crafting videos, or videos covering certain league mechanics. And it's tough to break into that audience as there are already trusted and somewhat community vetted content creators that are already putting out solid S-tier content of that sort. And this brings me to what I actually wanted to talk about today, which is Noob Traps. It's no secret that PoE is not a beginner-friendly game. The first couple of acts bait you into thinking the game is just like Diablo, but then there's a pretty large ramp up in difficulty at the end of Act 3 going into Act 4. And if you don't have a solid foundation for a build, you're going to have a pretty hard time, and it's going to be really grindy and difficult to clear content just in the campaign. We're not even talking about maps and later game content. While there are huge content creators out there that definitely have the community ear, you can't always just listen to what they have to say about a certain topic and take it as rule of law. What I mean by that is mostly talking about how good something is or how bad something is. Like, if you hear Gazi talk about how broken or strong a specific minion mechanic is, of course he's going to say that. He's the minion guy. Same goes for any other content creator talking about their trademark playstyle or build, or bashing a playstyle or build that doesn't align with their preferences. If there's someone who primarily plays a fast-paced glass cannon type build, they're not going to be a fan of the slower, tankier type builds. So think like Righteous Fire versus Cast on Crit, right? While it's definitely a good idea to find a good build guide to follow and try to mimic it as best you can, it's also important to know what kind of build, play style, and budget you have in mind. Not everyone's a lunatic like me and just dives into one of the most complicated builds in the game as a new player. Some questions you should ask yourself when you're trying to decide what to play. Am I going to league start this build? What kind of league mechanics do I want to run? How much do I want to actually invest in this build? Do I want to be tanky or do I want to pew pew? Do I want to be melee or do I want to be ranged? Do I want to play a minion build or do I want to play a non-minion build? These types of questions will allow you to start to frame the kind of build that you want to run, and this will make the game way more enjoyable. So let's say you want to play minions, go look at a Gazi build. Or maybe you want to be a thick boy, go look at Pox's Righteous Fire build. The guy literally has an entire wiki on the build. He's like the guru of Righteous Fire. I feel like a lot of new players don't hack it is mostly because they pick a build that either they didn't have enough currency to make work, They might have gotten baited into one of these low div investment builds that really doesn't work at the low div, and it's more like, you know, it's like a 1 div OP build, but it's really more like a 50 div build to really make it work the way they're showcasing it in the video. Or they might have went with a build that just doesn't fit with their playstyle or mesh with the type of content that they want to run. And as much as I want to say this, as I'm a smaller content creator myself, is be very weary of using a build from someone that isn't already known and vetted in the PoE community for their builds. The next thing is a bit more nuanced, but still a trap, and that's RMT. Now, we all know that RMT, or real money trading, is illegal and bannable by GGG, but everyone knows that it happens, and it's pretty hard to get banned doing it unless you are blatantly talking about it in global chat or you're live streaming yourself doing it. Regardless if you get banned doing it or not, it's still not a good idea. There are 2 reasons for this. One is the obvious. If you just buy the items you need, you will never learn how to scale your build correctly. The second is that some of these chase uniques drastically change the way that the game is played, mainly Headhunter and Mageblood. My character went from doing around 11 million DPS to doing close to 60 million DPS after getting my Mageblood. These items so drastically warp the gameplay that if you're purchasing them with real money, as soon as your character is able to equip them, you'll never be able to play the game again without doing this because it just doesn't feel the same. Just like you need to prep and game plan your build and the league mechanics that you're going to run, you also need to prep your maps if you're going to run maps. It's easy to justify and say, I don't have the currency to buy the components, but just like in life, in order to make money, you got to spend money. You are seriously hamstringing yourself by not juicing up the content that you're running with scarabs, charged compasses, and atlas missions. And if you haven't already unlocked your watchstones, you definitely want to do that. And if you can't do it on your own, just pay somebody, not with real money, but pay somebody to get a run through. It is unlikely you're going to find anything of value in your maps to drop if you're not investing into your maps. And the same goes for any other type of content that you're running. I love this game, and the community for Path of Exile was seriously one of the best communities I've ever encountered in all my years of gaming. I've met some really cool, helpful, and knowledgeable people while stumbling my way through Rayclass. I wish there was an easier transition for newer players to get into the game because it is really tough to get a new player to keep playing the game. It took me several attempts at playing to actually get hooked on Path of Exile, and the last time I took like a 4-year break. It's just really hard to pull in the more casual type of player into the game that encourages you to really grind and you get rewarded for grinding. I also wish it was a bit easier for smaller content creators to break into the scene, but the game requires a lot of knowledge to be able to speak accurately and showcase things correctly. I mean, there's a reason why all these channels that just churn out build guide content, like Rage Gaming and For Exile, and they haven't really touched PoE. It's too much of an investment to study and learn the game and be able to put out content that will be well received by the community. Like I said earlier in the video, I am working on a build guide. I've always been really good at seeing synergies and patterns, largely due to my ADHD, and I put out some solid guides while I was doing D4 content. Well, anyways, that's pretty much it, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please consider subscribing. You can always unsubscribe later if you hate my content, but it does really help with the algorithm. I do stream on Twitch Monday, Wednesday, Friday around 9 p.m. Eastern time. Hope to see you guys there. Until the next time, have a great day/night. Peace.